I would like to first address the picture that we'll be putting up on the easel. In that picture, it is my sister, Jessalyn Torres, victim HH, in the ICU. It is what a lot of other victims had looked like, from tubes keeping them alive to machines being watched over every minute of the day to see if they're doing okay. November 21st was like any other Christmas parade. My sister was dancing, my mom was pulling my baby sister in a wagon, and my brother and I were walking with them throwing candy. Everything was so normal in the beginning. Everyone was lined up in their orders, and people were taking pictures, laughing, talking, dancing. The mood was very joyful, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. The images and events from that day still weigh heavily on my mind. Vivian Darrell was the little girl I stayed with for a little bit after the tragic event. I still can feel the blood on my hands after I wiped it off her dripping head with my cold fingers. I told her that I was there for her so that she knows that somebody was with her as I listened to her whimpering cry that stays in my mind. I cried when I found my baby sister without my mother. She was confused about what just happened, so I held her in my arms, squeezing her as tight as I could. I remember finding my mother and sister, the vision of my mother's face in a panic, trying to puzzle everything together. She had her hands over my sister's body along with others. Holding my sister's head, I screamed when I saw the sight of my sister. Her face looked destroyed, with her body half naked from her clothes getting ripped off. I still remember my other family members' faces and screams when they saw my sister lying there. I broke down and fell to my knees. I felt broken when my grandmother started breaking down and screaming. The moment when they lifted my sister's unconscious body with a blanket into the back of a sheriff's car made me suddenly not breathe. It felt like there was no more air left in the world. It felt like I was being stabbed in the heart when I read my mother's messages about all the injuries my sister had. It was one text after another. I couldn't believe it was all real. From the trauma, I couldn't go back home because I knew my mom or sister wasn't going to be there. So I went to my friends, and my friend held me that night as my body shook. The pain of not being able to see my mother and hearing the cries of my 2-year-old sister constantly saying that she wants her mom broke my heart into little pieces. The whole time my sister was in the hospital, it was a blur, a tunnel vision every day, hour, minute, and second. We were lucky to have a Thanksgiving miracle to be able to see my mother for this first time after the incident. It relieved some of my pain and anxiety, and it felt nice to have so much weight removed off my chest when I hugged my mother, even with it being a short visit at Children's Hospital. My family had so much support from friends, other family in the community. Even though we had so much support, I felt like I was alone. I should have been getting the support from my own mother, but she couldn't leave my sister's side at the hospital. I felt forgotten. I was trying to give my other siblings support when I thought like I didn't have anyone to support me. I felt selfish even though I shouldn't have. Crying in class every day, I didn't want to be anywhere but home, wishing that my mom and sister were with me. Not being able to physically move from the hurt that I felt drained. My mental health was declining so much. I lost interest in the people and things I loved so dearly. I was miserable. Finally, 2 weeks later, getting the call that my sister was awake felt like my heartbeat got back to normal again. I showed everyone pictures with pure joy on my face that my sister was awake. 2 days before Christmas, they came back home. Everything was going okay until one night my sister felt like she suddenly couldn't breathe. My mother rushed her back up to the hospital. They found out later she had built up scar tissue in her trachea from being on the ventilator for so long and getting so immune to the drugs that she was on. She would wake up and move around in a panic. My sister has had around 15 surgeries on her trachea since. One day my mom was looking at the scab on the back of my sister's head, and when I saw everything from the parade came back to my mind, the images of that day happening over and over and over again, it brought back all the pain and anxiety. I laid in bed alone, crying because I couldn't sleep. I was back to the beginning where I would cry all night. The images were so vivid in my mind. My mom called me upstairs and held me in her arms. The next day, my uncle explained what PTSD was like. As the air gets thicker and my chest feels like it's getting smaller, I realize that this is just the beginning of a long and terrible road. I easily jump at little things. I have panic attacks every time I cross the street. I hate fireworks for the reason that they make me cry. Still to this day, the sound of tires screeching sends me into a panic as I look for my siblings. The pictures come racing back to my mind, tears come racing down my face, and as I see is everyone is okay except for me. The pain is still sitting with me, the visions are always there to jump back at different times. It's been hard to be the oldest sibling, having to feel like I need to manage the house and deal with my own mental strain while my mother is constantly gone dealing with my sister's medical care. That one incident turned my life upside down, and life hasn't been the same since. Most importantly, I just want to thank everyone who was there for my family and supported us unconditionally at the time my family was needed most. And for you, Darrell Brooks, I hope you know I've never had so much hate for someone until I met you. Everyone's saying that they wish Wisconsin had the death penalty for you. I simply disagree, because you do not deserve a simple death. Those 6 people who passed did not have a simple death. I hope you sit and suffer every minute of your day. Thank you.